Hi guys, welcome to Tighter Lines Fishing. This is my second video. It's been a little bit since I posted because I've been fishing, and when I'm not fishing I'm working, so work always gets in the way, but we try to fish as much as we can. So it's summertime. Fishing's been kind of tough. I'm sure it's that way across the country. Here in central Pennsylvania it's no different. I went fishing this morning and the water temperature was 82 degrees. So I don't like to move in 82 degree temperature, let alone a fish. I'm sure they don't. But so it's been tough fishing. Um, been catching some, but having to work for them a little bit. So I just wanted to talk about a couple things here. And I know when I started fishing, some of the issues that I had, and the outlook on certain things that I had, until I started getting into the sport and immersing myself in it. I learned how to just kind of calm down and fish for me. I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people don't do is they'll watch Major League Fishing or the Bassmaster Classic, and they see all these professionals with $20,000 worth of electronics and thousands of dollars worth of baits, and they think they can get on their own boat and replicate what they do. Well, it doesn't happen that way. Yeah, not even close. But anyhow, so key point number one: fish the way you want to fish. Don't let anybody tell you how to fish or influence how you want to fish. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Some people like to power fish, crankbait, chatterbaits, jerkbait, stuff like that. But there's other people that want to throw drop shot and finesse fish with the Texas rig or Carolina rig. And once you start fishing, you get to know what your style is. I'm a big crankbait fisherman. I love throwing crankbaits and jerkbaits. For me to slow down in the summertime and throw a finesse worm or a drop shot is very painful, but I have to tell myself to do it because that's what the fish are biting on. So sometimes that's hard to do, especially if you want to fish a certain way and you think the fish will bite a certain thing. But the only thing that has a decision making in that whole process is the bass, and they're going to eat what they want to eat. So you definitely have to be able to adapt and kind of step out of your comfort zone to just let the bass tell you what they're eating, and then you cater your style a little bit. But anyhow, so especially in the summertime, it's painfully slow, but they're there. You just have to be a little bit more patient. What works in the spring is not going to work in August. And what worked in August is not going to work in October. So, having said that, just be you, fish you. I think that's one of the biggest things I learned. It's when you watch it on TV, they make it look pretty easy, but it's not easy, and it takes a lot of time on the water, a lot of experimenting with different baits, different places on lakes. It's all invested in your time. So the more time you're out on that water, you'll figure your lakes out, your rivers, or whatever you're fishing. But it does take a lot of time, and it's going to get frustrating. I get frustrated quite a bit, but I still fish. So, having said that, number two, electronics. This fishing world is so saturated with electronics, and it's easy to look at somebody that has 2 to 4 pieces of equipment on his boat and watch them video fish and say, oh, that's easy. To each their own. If they have the money to do that and that's what makes them happy to fish, so be it. Let them video game fish, if you want to call it that. Doesn't make it any easier. They put just as much work into reading the electronics and being on the lake than they do fishing. So if you don't have that and you can't afford that, then fish the way you can afford to fish. and master that way. So, if you don't have mega imaging, 360, Panoptics, all this stuff that people are spending thousands of dollars on it, and it's like playing a PS5 game up front of your boat. Hey, if they want to fish that way, it's great. All the more power to them. Let them do it. But you have to enjoy the sport no matter what way you're partaking in it. Whether it's with electronics or you have a flat bottom boat with no electronics. Do it the old fashioned way and throw a jig out there, a football head jig, and find some rock piles. If you're not finding rock piles, fish a weed bed and go from there. Find your fish. It's no different. It's just a little bit more expensive. But so anyhow, just fish the way you can afford to fish and fish your style. Not everybody's style is the same, and it's not going to be. And just fish as much as you can. One day you might go out, you'll catch 15, 20 fish. The next day you might go out and get skunked. It's fishing. Summertime's really tough. I think everybody's waiting for the fall bite because they want to throw those jerk baits and start catching, fish that are feeding up for winter. But it's coming. Shortly it'll be here. But anyhow, I hope everybody's having a good time this summer. Hopefully you've been getting out on the water and doing some fishing and experimenting. And I hope you're fishing your way in your budget. And hopefully you're taking a kid fishing. So I know my YouTube channel I haven't put a whole lot of fish catches on there. I guess I have all this filming equipment and I haven't been using it on my boat, but I fished the St. Lawrence in June. Caught a lot of nice fish up there. We fished that for a week up near Clayton and Alexander Bay area. That was a lot of fun targeting those smallies, and such an awesome fishery. If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend St. Lawrence River. It is amazing. But for now, I'm fishing local lakes, and like I said, the water temperature today was, I think it was 80 or 82, something like that. And I got one bite in 4 hours. I threw chatterbait, I threw crankbaits, shaky head worms, and I didn't have a good day. But tomorrow's another day. So if you're out there struggling with summertime fishing, slow down. Maybe throw a Texas rig worm or a wacky worm, and it'll come to you. They'll come to you, and hopefully in a couple weeks the weather will start getting a little cooler, and we can get on some bigger fish that are schooled up or getting up into the banks and doing some bank fishing for them fish that are feeding up for winter. So it'll be a couple weeks, but keep fishing, keep your lines tight, and hope you have a good rest of your summer. And if y'all have any comments, feel free to drop them. Thanks.